Order. I call Jade Botterill to move the motion. I will then call the Minister to respond. There will not be an opportunity for the member in charge to wind up, as is the convention, for 30-minute debates. Jane Botterill to move the motion.
Thank you, Chair, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairship. I beg to move that this House has considered government support for grassroots rugby league. I know there was recently a debate in Westminster Hall about rugby union, and I'm glad now that the Six Nations is over, we can get back to talking about real rugby. Yeah. Especially on the day of the return of the Ashes has just been announced. Yeah. From the grassroots to the biggest stages, I know all too well how sport is an essential part of our lives. The value sport and clubs bring to communities cannot be overstated. But in my view, there is something truly special about rugby league, and it's because it's entirely embedded in our communities. These deep roots come from the history of the sport, with northern towns and working class players wanting a competition that better represented and reflected them. You may see players making TV big hits on a weekend and scoring match-winning tries, but in the week you'll see them doing the big shop at the local Asda, coaching their kids' team, at the school drop-off, and even sometimes down the pub. I will.
The Honourable Lady just mentioned grocery, and I want to mention that. First of all, can I congratulate the Honourable Lady on bringing this forward, and her enthusiasm is infectious. Well done. The Honourable Lady not agree that whilst we welcome that local business support grassroots, and back in Northern Ireland, it's the Spar grocery chain group that do that. They're supportive rugby in Northern Ireland for some 2 years. There is a need, obviously, for governmental support and incentives to make it easier for others. But one of the two things I think we need to do, if the Honourable Lady does agree with me, is to promote it in the lower classes, to ensure that they have the opportunity, and also to ensure that women have the opportunity as well. Thank you.
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention. This is my first ever Westminster Hall debate, so very grateful for any interventions. And like you, I do agree that we need to do more, and I will come on to start women in the sport later on in my speech. Rugby league players, they're not invisible heroes driving around in Ferraris and posting lavish lifestyles on Instagram. These players and their teams are in their community, not above it. Their victories are our victories, as much as we also share their defeats.
On that point,
I will.
Can I thank the honourable member for bringing this debate to the House? One of the rugby players most embedded in the community in my patch is Billy Boston. Local councillors have started a petition in my patch to secure Billy Boston a knighthood. Does the honourable member agree with me that, in general, rugby league deserves more national recognition, and that a very good way to start would be to ensure that Billy Boston becomes Sir Billy Boston?
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention, and I couldn't agree more. I think absolutely any recognition we can give the sport is great, and I think we should look at doing that. I think the impact, involvement and contribution of players represents so perfectly by Kevin Sinfield and the late, great Rob Burrow. It would be remiss of me not to mention these two gentlemen who perfectly personify rugby league and did so much to increase awareness of motor neuron disease, including securing investment for West Yorkshire's very own MND Research Centre. That grit, loyalty, purpose and solidarity, alongside commitment to others and their community, leaves real, positive, lasting change. We, in this place, could learn much from them. Community spirit is an often overlooked phrase, but not with league. It's what we're about. It's who we are. It's the game. It's the fight. But it's also the people as well. The places, the families, the clubs, the community. That's league, and that's why I'm so proud of it.
And that, will she give way?
I will, yeah.
Thank you. And can I thank my honourable friend for bringing forward this really important debate? And she will know, as my neighbour, that Huddersfield is the birthplace of rugby league. And we're really proud of that, and our team, the Huddersfield Giants, but also our local community clubs, Newsom Panthers, Moll Green Juniors and St Joseph's. So does she agree with me that we must do more to support and fund local infrastructure to ensure these clubs thrive?
Yeah.
I thank my honourable friend for her intervention, and yes, I do think we need to be doing more so grassroots clubs can really thrive, and again I'll come on to that a little bit later on in my speech. You also see it in the spirit of Rugby League in the finances of the club. From the charitable foundation almost every club fund and operate to the shirts sponsored by local businesses. In recent years, for example, my local team, Wakefield Trinity, has had Horbury Bistro's 42, even finished groundworks and Weatherby Whaler fish and chips on their kit. And now their entire stadium is sponsored by DIY kitchens. Local sport and local enterprise coming together for the benefit and enjoyment of the whole area. And what a team Wakefield Trinity is. I was actually at the game on Friday against Hull FC. Not quite the result we wanted, but that's by the by. Chair, I should declare an interest in Wakefield Trinity, not just as a fan, but the club actually gave me one of my first proper jobs, teaching PE in schools right across Wakefield. Being the Community Development Officer for my local team showed me the true value of what sport could do for young people. It also confirmed to me how post-industrial communities like mine were suffering, having been failed and ignored by previous governments. Indeed, it was through that job that I became political, as I saw the damage the closure of the Shore Start centres had of the families of the children I was teaching. Because of the spirit of localism and community, where government had failed towns like mine, Trinity rolled their sleeves and stepped in. During my time at the club's community foundation, I worked on projects providing education, confidence, development and opportunity to children right across the M62 corridor. As part of that programme, I took thousands of children to Wembley. More often than not, that was the very first time some of these kids were leaving their hometowns. Wakefield Trinity Community Foundation continues to do so much important work across our community today. The club's Safety Net project runs training sessions for children with challenging behaviour, helping them build friendships, gain confidence and understand themselves. Its Trinity All-Stars programme provides physical activity sessions and support for children with physical or learning disabilities. Its One Trinity initiative gives people living with dementia an afternoon a month to relive fond memories of Rugby League. And during the election, I was proud to take part in a roundtable with the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Movember and Rugby League Cares to discuss the importance of mental health. I was so moved to see former players, known for their gruff, gritty exteriors, talk openly and honestly about their mental health. In the area I grew up in and now have the privilege of representing, too often men bottle up their emotions. It was so impactful to see players and the club aware of their role in the community and so keen to use it proactively to break the stigmas that keep so many people from opening up. That work, opening up conversations about mental health, is exactly the value that Rugby League can provide in communities like mine. In post-industrial northern towns, as jobs and industries have disappeared, the institutions and communities that came with them have fallen away. Yet Rugby League teams have survived, embedded in our communities through thick and thin, providing place and meaning and an entire team to look up to. In our towns, where young people, especially young men, lack direction and are too often denied opportunity warranted by their aspiration, League can provide role models and structure. A hand on the shoulder, a word, sometimes stern, but always caring when it's needed most. And this is mirrored across the north. What were once jewels in the crown of thriving towns are now needed to bind our communities together. No one will be surprised to know that I believe this new Labour government truly understands this, and I will support them in bringing opportunity and hope back to these areas so Rugby League teams and their communities can thrive once more. Our sport has already survived so much, but it is vital we provide for its future. Its value to the community can continue for generations to come. Yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful to my honourable friend for giving way. She's making such a powerful speech about the power of Rugby League to change our communities. In my constituency, Farnley Falcons was founded in 2005 by volunteers, and it's gone from strength to strength. As a result of them fostering community spirit, they now have record numbers of boys and girls playing rugby league in Leeds South West and Morley. And I was so pleased, along with the Leeds Rhinos Foundation, to be able to secure them funding to renovate and build a new clubhouse. Will my honourable friend join me in paying tribute to Farnley Falcons, but to community clubs everywhere that foster this spirit?
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention. Absolutely, I commemorate Farnley Falcons. I think they do so much for the community and it's so underestimated, but everyone in that town will know how much they do for that community. I'm so very grateful for that. I think this means securing and growing the sport, ensuring that future generations have access to the many developmental, physical, mental, social and community benefits of the clubs. That's why I support calls for the government to drive greater access and opportunities to enjoy rugby league in schools, particularly in the towns that love the sport so much. We want to see more people being physically active, building stronger communities and tackling inequalities. As a woman who has both loved league from the stands and on the pitch, I'd love to see more women enjoying the sport, and I know the RFL are doing some incredible work in growing the girls' game. Crucially, their position within our communities means clubs can also bring working-class women into the game, something other sports struggle to achieve at the elite level. However, I know there remain blockers to better integrating the game in the facilities and pitches. I'd ask the Minister to look at how we can use the recently announced grassroots sport package to tackle this problem. As I've described, the power of rugby league comes from grassroots and localism. I welcome the success of larger clubs in bringing our sport to wider audiences, but the government must continue to support these smaller clubs who remain its beating heart. Much like the communities that play it, rugby league, from the grassroots to the finals at Wembley, deserves support, attention and care. For all northern post-industrial towns, I urge the government to continue its work to provide this. Thank you.
The question is that this House has considered government support for grassroots rugby league. I call the Minister.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairship, Mr Vickers, and I'm really pleased to be responding to this debate. And I'd like to, of course, begin by congratulating my honourable friend, the member for Ossett and Denby Dale, who represents the seat just up the road from mine. It's her first debate, and I think it's a really fantastic one to have. And she was obviously incredibly generous in opening, saying she would be welcoming interventions. I wonder if she'll still be doing that on her third and fourth debate. But it's such a good-natured debate and such a great topic, so a huge congratulations. I'd obviously like to also begin by joining the Honourable Lady in welcoming the news that Australia will be returning to England this autumn for the first Ashes tour since 2003. They'll be playing one match at Everton's new Bramley Moor Dock Stadium, which I plan on visiting shortly. Indeed, this government is of course very supportive of rugby league and the role that clubs play from the elite level to local communities, and I think that's reflected in just a half-an-hour debate to see the number of members here across the House to show their support. It's great also to see how rugby league's fiercest rivals have recently put aside differences to join forces and to help tackle inequalities, and she spoke particularly about her area of Wakefield. I understand the clubs are collaborating with Prosper Wakefield District, a newly appointed charity partner, to tackle various social issues, including Wakefield Children's Bed Appeal. And it's incredible to see the team spirit in the community foundations of the Castleford Tigers, Wakefield Trinity and the Featherstone Rovers, uniting to help address issues such as health inequality, youth engagement and community safety, supported by the Rugby Football League Foundation's Community Trust, and the important social value this brings. And I'll take this opportunity just to put on record and to acknowledge how she rightly paid tribute to the amazing work and fundraising around mountain urine disease, an issue and cause that's really close to my heart. And she rightly spoke about Rob Burrows and Kevin Sinfield, and I join and echo her in those comments. Now, this year, Rugby League celebrates its 130th anniversary. Rugby League clubs make a huge contribution to their communities, and I know that week in, week out, local people come together to support their clubs, their children's teams and young players. They are places where thousands of people play sport and get active every week. And she spoke really passionately about the particular impact on post-industrial towns, and I of course represent one myself in Barnsley South, and I know we've got a couple of grassroots teams, the Durham Valley Bulldogs and the Dodworth Miners, but we'll see that all across the north of England, and that's reflected by the attendance in today's debate, because we know that community sport, and especially sports like rugby league, can play a major role in building confidence, teamwork, supporting life skills for future generations and improving community cohesion. Now, through our arm's length body Sport England, we provide direct financial support to rugby league to support it to thrive and grow. In 2022, Sport England announced long-term funding support of £11.9 million for rugby league football up to 2027. The social value generated by community sport and physical activity is vast, in excess of $100 billion a year. Indeed, the RFL recognised in its facilities strategy last year that social isolation, mental and physical health issues and antisocial behaviour pose a challenge for future generations, but can be sustainably addressed through sport, and that's something she spoke very passionately about and that we see across a number of sports, but I think the point she made particularly about rugby league are really, really important. We know and can evidence that being active leads to $500 million savings in GP visits. It also prevents 3 million cases of serious conditions, whether that be 1.3 million cases of depression, 500,000 cases of back pain or reduction in diabetes each year. But we also know the benefits of sport go much wider than health. For example, contributing directly to 10,000 fewer crime incidents. And a 2019 report highlighted that every pound spent by rugby league community clubs in sport generates a social return of over £4. The social impact of the sport of rugby league on players and volunteers is estimated to be more than 185 million. And these figures, although a few years old, underscore the vital role sports such as rugby league can play in driving positive public health and societal outcomes across communities. Now, the government is committed to supporting sports such as rugby league, and we do this primarily through the work of Sport England. But I very much heard the point she made about promoting the sport in schools, and I was pleased to meet with the leading governing bodies, with the schools minister, the member for Newcastle upon Tyne North. The schools minister is incredibly passionate, and we work closely together to try and improve sport in schools, and I look forward to continuing that work with my honourable friend. And of course, she also acknowledged that in the last week the government confirmed that it will invest £100 million in grassroots sports facilities via the Multi-Sport Grassroots Facilities Programme. And central to this programme is the multi-sport offer. 40% of projects will offer regular and sustained multi-sport use. This is vital investment which helps support rugby league clubs to develop their facilities across our towns and cities. And it also shows the importance of working alongside local areas, taking a place-based and community-driven approach. Now, we don't underestimate the challenges being faced by grassroots sport, including rugby league clubs, whether that be increased financial pressures with ever more responsibility, shifting population behaviour away from traditional sport offers, or the challenges in securing volunteers, and of course take this opportunity to pay a huge thank you to all those volunteers who give up their time. Now, Sport England supports clubs to address these challenges through advice and guidance in their Buddle programme, which provides free resources to grassroots sports clubs to help maximise their role at a local level. They also provide financial support through the £160 million Movement Fund, which provides both grants and crowdfunding support to grassroots clubs. The Rugby Football League itself is doing brilliant work to tackle inequalities through its sport, which clearly show the value of the sport. And examples of this include their Awakening Rugby League in the City, which will see the creation of a pathway for talented athletes who may have never considered playing rugby league as an opportunity to experience the game for the first time in a supported environment. Through the Inspiring Futures programme, which is delivered by the charitable foundations of the 7 Super League clubs supported by the RFL, the sport is able to reach more children and young people, supporting them to grow, develop, and also helping to steer them away from violence and crime. And more broadly, the RFL have also been working with their social care partner to relaunch On the Same Team, helping tackle prejudice within society. The campaign offers simple and inspiring education that helps young people to understand the impact of their words and behaviours on other people and how we can thrive when we are on, of course, the same team. In 2022, England was proud to host the Rugby League World Cup. It made history as the biggest rugby league tournament ever, the first time the men, women and wheelchair tournaments played simultaneously and were paid equal participation fees. This was a major step forward and one the sport should be incredibly proud of. The subsequent social impact programme has done incredible work to tackle inequalities in the communities that need it most, many of which are located in the host towns and cities, many of which the members are here today, whether that be Leeds, Hull and Huddersfield. This really is a testament to the power of major sporting events to deliver transformation in communities and facilities across the country. Now, following the World Cup, we did see a boost to women and girls' participation in the game, with a 33% more females playing the sport in the year later, just in 2023. The RFL also launched a programme called Rugby's, aimed at breaking down gender stereotypes and encouraging more young girls into the sport. The scheme is open to girls aged 7 to 11 and designed to help them develop confidence in areas such as catching, passing and kicking. It's the first rugby league programme to be developed specifically for primary school age girls. held. And following England's historic victory in the Wheelchair Rugby League, the sport has seen significant growth, leading to an expansion of the Wheelchair Super League to 8 teams in 2025 and the renewal of the Tries, I hope I've said that correctly, Rugby League sessions run by Access Sport in partnership with the Rugby Football League. As things stand, not enough people are active or participating in sport. I know that from my own area. We want to do everything we can to get people more active, more involved and being able to access the sports that they love. So I think this debate has been a great opportunity to outline the government's commitment to supporting grassroots rugby league and sport more generally. And I thank the member for Ossett and Denbury Dale for giving us the chance in her first debate to discuss this important topic. Thank you.
The question is that this House has considered government support for grassroots rugby league. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order. The sitting is suspended until 2:30.